Good evening, my friend. I'm Dr. Sam Thompson. Before you turn off the lights tonight, I'd like to ask you for just a minute. Not because I want to frighten you, but because I want to share something I wish more people had told me years ago. A few months ago, one of my patients, Robert, looked at me with a quiet smile and said, Dr. Sam, I can still remember the serial number of the first truck I bought when I was 25. But yesterday, I walked into the kitchen and couldn't remember why I was there. He laughed as he said it, but I could see the worry in his eyes. And honestly, I've heard that same story hundreds of times over the years. Most people think memory simply fades because of age. Sometimes it does, but sometimes our brains are simply missing the support they need during the most important hours of the day, the hours when we're asleep. Tonight, I'd like to show you 5 ordinary foods that may help support your brain while you rest. They're not expensive. They're not exotic. In fact, you may already have some of them in your kitchen right now. Have you ever wondered why a good night's sleep can make everything feel a little clearer the next morning? That's because your brain doesn't simply turn off when you fall asleep. In fact, some of its most important work begins after your eyes close. While your body is resting, your brain is busy organizing memories from the day. It decides what information is important enough to keep and what can be safely forgotten. At the same time, it begins cleaning away tiny waste products that naturally build up while you're awake. Think of it like a cleaning crew entering a quiet office building after everyone has gone home. The lights are off. The building looks peaceful, but inside, important work is happening all night long. The healthier that nighttime process is, the better your brain may perform the next day. That's why what you eat in the evening may matter more than many people realize. Now, here's something that surprises many of my patients. Your brain can't repair itself using materials it doesn't have. Think about building a house. Even the best construction crew can't finish the job if there are no bricks, no wood, and no tools. Your brain works in much the same way. During the night, it depends on nutrients that are already in your body. Those nutrients come from the foods you eat throughout the day, especially your evening meal. That's why eating the right foods before bedtime isn't about following another trendy diet. It's about giving your brain the building blocks it needs while it works through the night. Some foods help reduce inflammation. Some support healthy brain cells. Others provide nutrients that may help protect memory as we grow older. The good news is, none of the 5 foods I'm about to show you are expensive. In fact, you can probably find every one of them at your local grocery store. Let's begin with number 5. And I have to admit, many people are surprised to see this simple little fruit on the list. A few years ago, one of my patients, Margaret, told me she had stopped buying blueberries because she thought they were just another health food trend. She smiled and said, Dr. Sam, they're too small to make any real difference. I smiled back, because sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest impact. Blueberries are naturally rich in plant compounds called anthocyanins. You don't need to remember that name. What's important is this. These natural compounds may help protect brain cells from everyday wear and tear. They may also support healthy communication between brain cells, which becomes increasingly important as we grow older. That's one reason blueberries have become one of my favorite evening snacks for adults over 60. Let me explain this in the simplest way I can. Every single day, your brain works incredibly hard. It helps you think, remember names, make decisions, control every movement your body makes. Just like a car that travels thousands of miles, your brain naturally experiences a little wear and tear over time. That's a normal part of aging. The good news is, blueberries contain natural plant nutrients that may help protect brain cells from some of that everyday damage. Think of them as a gentle shield. They can't stop aging, but they may help your brain stay healthier as the years go by. That's one reason many brain health researchers continue to study blueberries and healthy aging. No single food is a miracle, but small healthy choices repeated over many years, can make a meaningful difference. So, how much do you actually need? Fortunately, not very much. You don't need a giant bowl, and you certainly don't need expensive supplements. For most older adults, a small handful of fresh or frozen blueberries is enough to become part of a healthy evening routine. I often suggest adding them to plain Greek yogurt or enjoying them with a small handful of walnuts. It's simple. It takes less than 2 minutes to prepare, and it gives your body nutrients it can use while you sleep. One important thing to remember: try not to cover your blueberries with lots of added sugar. The fruit is already naturally sweet. Let it stay that way. Healthy aging isn't about eating perfectly. It's about making slightly better choices, one evening at a time. Now let's move to number 4. This may already be sitting in your refrigerator, yet many people never think of it as a brain-friendly evening food. I'm talking about plain Greek yogurt. One evening, a patient named Linda told me, "Dr. Sam, I usually skip dinner because I don't want to eat too much before bed." I understood her concern, but going to bed hungry isn't always the best choice, especially as we grow older. During the night, your body and brain are still working. They still need nourishment. Plain Greek yogurt is rich in protein, and it also provides important nutrients that support muscles, bones, and overall health. A healthy body and a healthy brain work together. When one becomes weaker, the other often feels the effects. That's one reason I often recommend a small serving of plain Greek yogurt as part of a light evening. Here's something that surprised me when I first learned it many years ago. Your stomach and your brain are constantly communicating with each other. Even though they're far apart, they're connected every single day. Think of it like a telephone line. When one end is working well, the message is clear. But when that connection is disturbed, the signals may not be as smooth. Scientists are still learning about this remarkable relationship, but we already know that a healthy digestive system plays an important role in overall brain health. That's one reason plain Greek yogurt has received so much attention in recent years. It contains live cultures that help support a healthy balance of bacteria in your digestive system. It isn't a cure, but it's one more small habit that may help your body and brain work together as you grow older. One of the biggest mistakes I see isn't eating the wrong foods. It's trying to change everything at once. Someone decides they're going to eat perfectly, exercise every day, sleep 8 hours, cut out sugar completely. And within 2 weeks, they've given up. Healthy aging doesn't work that way. The habits that last are usually the simplest ones. If you enjoy plain Greek yogurt, keep a small container in your refrigerator. Add a few blueberries. Sprinkle a few walnuts on top. That's it. You don't need a complicated recipe. You don't need expensive supplements. You just need a routine that's easy enough to repeat tomorrow and the day after that. Because the brain benefits most from healthy habits that become part of everyday life. Now let's move to number 3. If you've ever looked closely at a walnut, you may have noticed something interesting. It almost looks like a tiny human brain. Of course, that doesn't mean it has magical powers, but it is a reminder that nature often gives us remarkable foods in very simple forms. For many years, walnuts have been studied because they contain healthy fats, plant-based omega-3s, vitamin E, and other nutrients that help support overall health. As we grow older, our brains need healthy fats to help maintain the structure of billions of brain cells. Think of those healthy fats as part of the material that helps keep communication between brain cells running smoothly. Walnuts won't make your memory perfect overnight, but enjoying a small handful as part of a balanced diet may be one more simple habit that supports healthy aging over time. One question I hear quite often is, "Dr. Sam, if walnuts are good for me, should I eat a whole bag?" My answer is always the same. More is not always better. Walnuts are rich in healthy nutrients, but they're also naturally high in calories. For most adults over 60, A small handful is usually enough. You don't need to count every piece. Just think of a portion that comfortably fits in the palm of your hand. That's often all you need. I also encourage my patients to enjoy walnuts with other wholesome foods rather than eating them with candy, sugary desserts, or heavily processed snacks. Healthy aging is rarely about one perfect food. It's about how different healthy choices come together over time. A small handful of walnuts, a balanced meal, a good night's sleep. Those simple habits can become powerful when repeated for years. Now let's talk about number 2. This one often surprises people because for years, many of us have been told to avoid anything sweet before bedtime. And in many situations, that's still good advice. But I'm not talking about candy. I'm not talking about cookies. And I'm certainly not talking about sugary desserts. I'm talking about a small amount of raw honey. Raw honey contains naturally occurring plant compounds and antioxidants that researchers continue to study for their potential role in overall health. Some people also find that a small amount of honey, enjoyed as part of a balanced evening snack, is more satisfying than processed sweets. The important word here is small. More is not better. And if you have diabetes or another medical condition that affects your blood sugar, it's important to speak with your healthcare provider before making changes to your diet. Healthy aging is about making thoughtful choices, not chasing miracle foods. We finally reached number 1. If I could recommend just one food to support long-term brain health, this would almost certainly be on the list. Not because it's a miracle food, but because it has been studied for decades. I'm talking about fatty fish, especially salmon. Salmon is naturally rich in omega-3 fatty acids, nutrients that play an important role in the structure of brain cells. Your brain is made up of billions of cells that must communicate with each other every second of every day. Those cells depend on healthy cell membranes to send and receive messages efficiently. As we grow older, supporting those natural structures becomes increasingly important. That's one reason many healthcare professionals encourage eating fatty fish regularly as part of the balanced diet. It isn't about one meal. It's about giving your brain consistent support over many years. Now, after hearing about these 5 foods, you might be wondering, Dr. Sam, do I need to eat all of them every single night? The answer is no. Healthy aging isn't about following a perfect checklist. It's about building simple habits that fit naturally into your life. One evening, you might enjoy a small bowl of plain Greek yogurt with blueberries. Another night, you might have grilled salmon with vegetables for dinner. On another evening, you may add a small handful of walnuts as a snack. There is no perfect menu. What matters most is variety, consistency, and choosing whole, nourishing foods more often than highly processed ones. Small choices, repeated week after week, often have a much greater impact than dramatic changes that only last a few days. Your brain doesn't expect perfection. It simply benefits from steady care. Before we finish, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Over the years, I've met many older adults who believed they had simply waited too long. They would look at me and quietly say, Dr. Sam, maybe it's too late for me. My answer was almost always the same. It is never too late to begin taking better care of yourself. Will one healthy meal erase years of unhealthy habits? Of course not. But that's not how the human body works. Your body responds to what you do consistently, not what you do perfectly. One better dinner, one better night's sleep, one short walk, one glass of water instead of another sugary drink. Those choices may seem small today, but over months and years, they become the foundation of healthy aging. Don't underestimate the power of small improvements. They have changed more lives than dramatic changes ever could. Before we say goodbye, let's take one last look at these 5 simple foods. Not because any one of them is a miracle, but because together they represent something much more important. Blueberries remind us to protect the brain from everyday wear and tear. Plain Greek yogurt reminds us that a healthy body and a healthy brain work together. Walnuts remind us that healthy fats are part of nourishing our brain over time. A small amount of raw honey reminds us that healthier choices don't have to mean giving up every food we enjoy. And salmon reminds us that some of the simplest foods are often supported by years of scientific research. None of these foods can promise perfect memory. None can stop aging. But together, they encourage a way of eating that supports your body, your brain, and your independence. That's the goal. Not perfection, just giving yourself the best chance to stay healthy, active, and independent for as many years as possible. Before we say goodbye, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Healthy aging isn't about finding one perfect food. It isn't about following every new health trend. And it certainly isn't about trying to turn back the clock. It's about giving your body and your brain the care they deserve, one small choice at a time. Tonight, you don't have to change your entire diet. You don't have to clean out your kitchen. You don't have to be perfect. Just choose one small step. Maybe it's adding a handful of blueberries to tomorrow's breakfast. Maybe it's enjoying a piece of salmon this week. Or maybe it's simply remembering that your health is still worth investing in, no matter your age. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me. If today's conversation encouraged you, I'd love for you to join our Stay Independent 60+ community by subscribing. Every week, we'll explore simple, practical ways to support your memory, your mobility, your heart, and your independence. Until next time, take good care of yourself, because you're never too old to make tomorrow a little healthier than today.